The joke landed at 7:42 on a Saturday night, somewhere between my mother's baked ziti and my best friend reaching across me to wipe sauce off my face with her thumb. Honestly, I told the table, Maya's practically my wife already. Everyone laughed. Maya didn't. She looked straight at me, her thumb still resting near the corner of my mouth, and asked, "What's stopping us?" That was the moment my entire family went silent. It was also the moment I realized I had made a serious mistake, though not for the reason you might think. My name is Lucas Bennett. I was 25 then, working as an electrician in Raleigh and living in a one-bedroom apartment that contained three good tools, one dying houseplant, and absolutely nothing Maya Reynolds hadn't either chosen, repaired, or complained about. The plant was hers. Technically, she had given it to me when I moved in. A home needs something alive in it, she'd said. I'm alive. Debatable. That was Maya. She could insult me without changing her tone, then show up at 6 in the morning with coffee because I had an early job across town. She was 24, managed a small neighborhood bakery, and somehow always smelled faintly of vanilla even when she hadn't been working. We'd met 2 years earlier when I was rewiring the bakery after a pipe burst above the kitchen. Maya had stood beneath my ladder, arms crossed, informing me that if I killed power to her ovens during the morning rush, she would make my obituary brief but accurate. I liked her immediately. Not just because she was beautiful, although she was. She had dark, expressive eyes and thick brown hair she usually twisted up with a pencil while she worked. What got me was the way she paid attention. Maya remembered who took their coffee black, which customers had sick parents, and whether I was joking because something was funny or because I didn't want to admit it hurt. At first, friendship was easy. We were both dating other people when we met. By the time those relationships ended, Maya and I had settled into something comfortable enough that changing it felt like taking a hammer to the best room in the house. She had a key to my apartment. I was her emergency contact. Every Wednesday, she brought dinner over after closing the bakery, and every Sunday, I fixed whatever small thing had broken in her rental house while she followed me around, pretending not to be impressed. Neither of us called those evenings dates. That would have required honesty. The Saturday everything changed began with Maya calling me at 4. "Your mother texted me," she said. I glanced at my phone while tightening the cover on an electrical panel. "I'm concerned that you two have reached the direct communication stage." She said family dinner starts at 6. I was planning to fake a work emergency. She anticipated that. "Apparently she has your supervisor's number." I sighed. "Of course she does." Maya laughed. "I'll pick you up at 5:30. "You weren't invited?" "Your mother sent me a picture of the place setting with my name on it." There was a pause. "Lucas?" "Yeah?" "Your family likes me more than they like you." "They have poor judgment." She lowered her voice. "Wear the blue shirt." Then she hung up. I stood alone in that utility room, holding a screwdriver and smiling like an idiot. The blue shirt was one Maya had bought me after declaring that my closet looked like a hardware store had lost the will to live. I wore it because she asked, which probably should have told me something. When she pulled up outside my building, I opened the passenger door and stopped. Maya wore a green dress that ended just above her knees, simple gold earrings, and her hair down over her shoulders. I had seen her dressed up before. Weddings, birthday dinners, one disastrous New Year's Eve when she'd broken a heel and made me carry her 3 blocks. This felt different. Her gaze moved over my shirt and a slow smile appeared. "You listened. You sound surprised." "I've met you." I got in, still looking at her. She raised an eyebrow. "Is there a problem?" "No." "Then why are you staring?" I reached for the seatbelt. "Just trying to decide if that dress is appropriate for baked ziti." "Drive yourself next time." "You're driving." "Then walk." The banter was familiar. The heat? Underneath it wasn't. At a red light, her hand rested on the console between us. My fingers were only an inch away. Neither of us moved for several seconds. Then the light changed and Maya cleared her throat. My parents' house was already crowded when we arrived. My older sister, Jenna, opened the door and looked from Maya to me with an expression usually reserved for people who had missed something obvious. "You came together," she said. "We always come together," Maya replied. Jenna smiled. "Exactly." I should mention that my family had spent nearly a year pretending not to campaign for this relationship. My mother saved Maya's favorite wine. My father asked her opinion before buying my birthday gifts. My 8-year-old nephew had once drawn a picture of our future wedding, though he'd also included a dinosaur, so I questioned his reliability. Dinner was loud and comfortable. Maya sat beside me, her knee brushing mine beneath the table whenever someone made her laugh. She stole the crispy corner from my serving of ziti. I took the last garlic roll off her plate. At one point, my mother asked Maya whether she wanted the recipe. "No need," I said. "She'll just make it better and bring me some." Maya gave me a sideways glance. "Bold of you to assume you'd get any. You always save me some." I could stop. "You've been threatening that for 2 years." My father shook his head. "You two sound married." "Married people have better tax benefits," Maya said. "And joint arguments about thermostat settings," I added. "You keep your apartment at 66 degrees. Because electricity costs money. You're an electrician. That doesn't make it free." Maya leaned across me to reach for the grated cheese, noticed the sauce near my mouth, and wiped it away with her thumb. The gesture was casual. The look she gave me afterward wasn't. I felt the warmth of her touch long after her hand should have moved. Something inside me shifted. A door opening onto a room I'd spent 2 years insisting wasn't there. That was when I made the joke. "Honestly," I said, trying to ease the sudden tension, "Maya's practically my wife already." Everyone laughed. Everyone except Maya. Her eyes stayed on mine. "What's stopping us?" My sister's fork struck her plate. My mother stared down at her wine with the concentrated innocence of a woman hearing absolutely everything. I gave a short laugh. "You mean besides this audience?" "I mean besides you being scared. There are sentences that embarrass you, and there are sentences that reach under your ribs and find the truth you've been hiding. That one did both. My parents' divorce had taken 3 years and ruined every holiday between my 15th and 18th birthdays. They had found their way back to friendship eventually, but I'd learned early that love could turn the safest person in your life into someone you spoke to through attorneys. Maya knew that. She also knew I hadn't had a serious relationship since college. I set down my fork. "Can we talk outside?" "Please." She followed me through the kitchen and onto the back porch. Evening rain tapped softly against the roof. Through the window, my family made a heroic and completely unconvincing effort not to watch us. Maya folded her arms, but she didn't look embarrassed. She looked nervous. That scared me more. "What was that?" I asked. "You made the joke. I didn't expect you to propose over baked pasta." "I didn't propose." "Good. Because my answer depends heavily on the ring." Her mouth twitched, but the smile disappeared almost immediately. "I'm serious, Lucas." The rain filled the silence. She stepped closer, near enough that the vanilla scent of her hair cut through the damp summer air. "You call me when something good happens," she said. "You call me when something bad happens. I know your family, you know mine. We spend 3 nights a week together and pretend it's accidental." "Maya, no, you asked what this is without asking." Her voice softened. "So I'm asking." I could feel my pulse in my throat. "What exactly are you asking me?" She looked down once, gathering courage, then took my hand and placed it gently against her waist. Her breath caught. So did mine. "I'm asking whether you've ever wanted to kiss me," she said. "Because I've wanted you to for the last 6 months." Behind us, something crashed in the kitchen, followed by my father, loudly claiming he had dropped a spoon. Neither of us turned around. Maya's fingers closed around the front of my shirt and her eyes held mine. "Well?" she whispered. "Yes," I said. Maya's grip tightened on my shirt. "Yes, what?" "Yes, I've wanted to kiss you." "For how long?" I could have lied. 6 months would have matched her answer and made me seem considerably less pathetic. "Since you fell asleep on my shoulder during that terrible Christmas movie last year." Her lips parted. "That was 9 months ago." "I'm aware." "And you didn't say anything?" "You drooled on me. It was a confusing moment." She laughed, but it came out shaky. Lucas. I slid my hand from her waist to the small of her back. I didn't say anything because you're the first person I want to tell everything to. Risking that felt terrifying, catastrophically stupid. Maya searched my face. And now not kissing you feels worse. Her gaze dropped to my mouth. That was all the permission I needed. I leaned in slowly, giving her time to change her mind. She didn't. Her fingers curled against my chest, and when my lips met hers, I discovered two things at once. First, kissing Maya did not feel strange. It felt like recognizing somewhere I'd never been. Second, my family was terrible at pretending not to watch. Someone behind the kitchen window whispered, "Finally," much too loudly. Maya laughed against my mouth. I did too, but neither of us pulled away. I kissed her again, longer this time, and she rose onto her toes as her arms went around my neck. Every Wednesday dinner, every late night call, every accidental touch I had ignored came rushing back with a new meaning. When we separated, her cheeks were flushed. "Worth the 9-month wait?" she asked. "Ask me again," without 6 people pressed against the glass. The kitchen curtain dropped abruptly. Maya buried her face against my shoulder. "I can never come here again. My mother would hunt you down." "That's true." I rested my chin against her hair, holding her while rain whispered around the porch. The intimacy of it hit me almost as hard as the kiss. I had held Maya before when her grandmother died, when she'd slipped on ice, when she'd once insisted a horror movie wasn't frightening and then climbed halfway into my lap. This was different because we had chosen what it meant. She leaned back enough to see me. "What happens now?" "We go inside, where my family performs an interrogation prohibited by international law." "I mean with us." I glanced through the window. My father ducked behind the refrigerator. "With us, I take you on a date." "You've taken me to dinner 100 times. A real date." "What makes it real?" "I pay." "You already pay whenever you lose an argument." "I wear the blue shirt." Her eyes warmed. "You're wearing it now." "Then we're halfway there." She traced one finger along my collar. "Tomorrow night?" "Tomorrow night." "And Lucas?" "Yeah? If you panic and try to pretend this didn't happen, I will tell everyone you cried during Paddington 2. That bear was wrongly imprisoned." "I'm serious." So was she. Beneath the teasing, I saw the fear she hadn't spoken aloud. Maya had taken the risk first. She needed to know I wouldn't make her regret it. I laced my fingers through hers. "I'm scared," I admitted, "but I'm not backing out." Her expression softened. "Good." Then she kissed my cheek, took my hand, and led me back into the house. My mother lasted 11 seconds before opening a bottle of champagne. By the time Maya drove me home, it was nearly midnight. We sat outside my building with the engine running and the radio low. Neither of us seemed willing to say goodnight. "This is weird," I said. Her head snapped toward me. "Bad weird?" "No. More like I'm sitting beside the same woman I've known for 2 years, except now I know how she tastes." Maya looked through the windshield, hiding a smile. "That was almost smooth." "Thank you. The delivery needs work. I'll practice before tomorrow." "With whom?" Her tone was light, but I heard the question beneath it. I reached across the console and took her hand. "Only you." Maya turned back to me. The streetlight caught the gold flecks in her eyes. For once, neither of us made a joke. I lifted her hand and kissed her knuckles. "7 tomorrow?" I asked. "7." I got out, shut the door, then bent toward the open window. "Just to clarify, am I allowed to kiss you goodnight?" "You had your chance." She started to raise the window. I caught the top of the glass. "Cruel." Maya grinned, leaned across the passenger seat, and crooked one finger. I bent closer. She kissed me quickly, then pulled away before I could deepen it. "7," she repeated. She drove off while I stood on the curb smiling after her. I slept badly. Not because I regretted anything, because my brain kept replaying the porch. The weight of her hand against my chest, the softness of her mouth, the fact that she had wanted me for 6 months while I'd spent 9, convincing myself I was protecting our friendship. By noon the next day, I had changed our dinner reservation twice. At 2, Maya texted, "You know I can see when you modify the calendar invite, right?" I stared at my phone. Why are you monitoring the calendar? Because watching you have a nervous breakdown is my love language. My heart stopped on one particular word. Before I could decide whether she meant anything by it, another message appeared. Stop planning. Pick me up at the bakery at 7. At 6:58, I parked outside Sweet Laurel carrying flowers, not roses. Maya hated roses. I'd bought sunflowers because she once told me they looked stubbornly cheerful. The bakery was dark except for the lights above the front counter. I knocked and Maya appeared from the kitchen in black jeans and a soft cream sweater. Her hair was down again. She unlocked the door, saw the flowers, and went still. You remembered. I handed them over. Stubbornly cheerful. Her eyes lifted to mine. That was a year ago. I remember things. I know. She stepped closer. It's one of your more dangerous qualities. Before I could answer, she kissed me. No audience this time. No family, no laughter, no rain. Just Maya's hand against my jaw and the faint warmth of the bakery around us. I set one hand on the counter behind her and the other at her waist, drawing her close. She tasted like cinnamon. When we finally broke apart, I glanced at the empty display cases. Have you been eating the inventory? Quality control. Very professional. I'm the manager. Corruption at the highest level. She smiled and held up a picnic basket. I changed the plan. 10 minutes later, we were sitting on the bakery roof beneath strands of patio lights Maya used during summer events. She had packed sandwiches, fruit, 2 slices of chocolate cake, and the same wine my mother had served. This is your idea of letting me plan the date? I asked. I've seen you plan. Intervention was necessary. We sat side by side on an old quilt, shoulders touching as evening settled over the city. It should have felt like every other meal we'd shared. It didn't. Maya kept looking at me when she thought I wouldn't notice. I kept finding excuses to touch her, my knee against hers, my fingers brushing hers when I passed the wine. After we ate, she stretched out on her back to look at the sky. I lay beside her. Are you nervous? She asked. Very. Me too. That surprised me. You seem calm. I manage 40 custom orders every Saturday before breakfast. I'm good under pressure. This is pressure? She turned her head toward me. You matter more. The humor left her voice and something in my chest tightened. I rolled onto my side. You matter more too. That's the problem. Maya. If this goes badly, I don't just lose someone I dated. I lose my best friend. I brushed a strand of hair from her cheek. Then we don't treat this casually. Her gaze searched mine. What does that mean? It means I'm not seeing anyone else. I don't want to. Neither do I. It means if I get scared, I tell you instead of disappearing into my own head. That one sounds difficult for you. Extremely. She smiled faintly. And if it works? I looked at her under those warm rooftop lights, at the woman who knew every version of me and had still asked what was stopping us. Then maybe the joke wasn't a joke. Maya's breath caught. I kissed her before fear could make me take it back. This kiss was slower. Her fingers slid into my hair and she drew me down until there was no space between us. When my hand settled at her hip, she made a soft sound that erased every coherent thought I had. Then her phone rang. Maya ignored it. It rang again. Someone's persistent, I murmured against her lips. They'll recover. The third call made her sigh. She reached for the phone, glanced at the screen, and all the warmth left her face. What is it? I asked. She silenced the call. Nothing. I knew her too well for that. Maya. She sat up, wrapping her arms around her knees. For several seconds, she stared across the rooftops. Then she looked at me. My lease ends in 6 weeks, she said. And before you kissed me last night, I was planning to move to Boston. For a moment, all I heard was traffic below us. Boston, I repeated. Maya nodded. As in Massachusetts? No, the secret second Boston outside Durham. You're making jokes. So are you. Because I'm trying not to react badly. Her eyes narrowed. How badly? I sat up and moved to the edge of the quilt, needing distance before I said something unfair. You've been planning to leave and you never told me. I wasn't sure it would happen. That's not the same as not planning. I applied to a bakery there 4 months ago. Their pastry director is opening her own place and asked me to help run it. 4 months? You'd started seeing that woman from the gym. Dana and I had 3 dates. How was I supposed to know that? You don't discuss women with me. Because every time I tried, Maya had suddenly become fascinated by her phone or the nearest exit. I looked at the dark screen in her hand. Was that the bakery calling? It was Simone. She offered me the job on Friday, the day before our first kiss. And the lease? My landlord is selling the house. The timing seemed like an answer. But you haven't accepted. Not yet. I should have felt relieved. Instead, the words not yet settled cold in my stomach. Maya drew her knees closer. Say something. I stared across the roof at the lights in the neighboring buildings. Congratulations! She flinched. It was subtle, but I saw it. That's what you say? It's a big opportunity. I know what it is. What do you want from me, Maya? Her voice softened. I don't know, something honest. That stung because she was right. I had spent most of my life disguising fear as practicality. After my parents' marriage collapsed, I became excellent at anticipating endings. If I expected people to leave, they couldn't surprise me. Maya had always seen through it. I turned toward her. I want you to stay. Her eyes widened. I know it's selfish, I continued. I know we've been doing this for less than 24 hours and I don't have the right to ask you to give up something you worked for, but you asked for honest. Keep going. I'm angry that you didn't tell me. I'm angrier that I can't pretend this is only about losing Wednesday dinners. The tension in her shoulders eased slightly. I don't want 6 weeks with you, I said. I want to find out what this is without an expiration date hanging over us. Maya set her phone aside. Then she crossed the small space between us and took my face in both hands. I wanted you to say that, she whispered. I closed my eyes briefly. That doesn't solve Boston. No, but it solves the part where I was terrified I'd imagined this alone. You didn't. Her thumbs brushed my cheeks. I haven't accepted because I don't know if I want that life anymore. Because of me. Not only you. The job is exciting, but it means leaving my parents, the bakery, everyone I know. A sad smile touched her mouth. And yes, you. Especially now. I covered one of her hands with mine. I won't ask you to shrink your life for me. What if I'm not asking you to decide for me? What if I'm asking you to matter while I decide? That landed harder than any ultimatum could have. I drew her onto my lap. She came willingly, one arm circling my shoulders as my hands settled at her waist. I matter, I said. You do. And I want you. Her gaze dropped to my mouth. That could use clarification. I want you here. I want this relationship. If you choose Boston, I'll still want you. Maya studied me. Are you saying you'd try long distance? The idea made my chest ache, but not as much as losing her without trying. Yes. You hate flying. I hate airports. Flying is just sitting angrily in the sky. She laughed, and the sound broke something open between us. I kissed her. She leaned into me, soft and warm, and the kiss turned urgent almost immediately. Her hands slipped into my hair. Mine tightened at her hips. When she shifted closer, every nerve in my body woke up. Lucas, she breathed. I pressed my forehead to hers. Tell me if I'm moving too fast. You've taken 9 months to kiss me. I don't think speed is our problem. That sounded like a complaint. It was. She kissed me again, smiling against my mouth. We stayed on the roof until the wine was gone and the city had quieted around us. We didn't solve Boston. We didn't pretend love or whatever we were racing toward automatically answered questions about careers and homes. But when I drove her back to her rental, she invited me inside. I'd been there hundreds of times. That night, the doorway felt like a border. Maya stood with one hand on the open door. You can stay. The softness in her voice sent heat through me. I can also go, I said. Do you want to? No. Then why are you still on the porch? I'm trying to be respectful. You can be respectful in the living room. I stepped inside. She locked the door, turned, and leaned back against it. For one suspended second, we simply looked at each other. Then she reached for me. The kiss was deep and unhurried. I braced one hand beside her head while her palms moved over my chest, learning what friendship had never allowed us to touch. When we finally pulled apart, she was breathing as hard as I was. "Stay the night," she whispered. I searched her face. "Are you sure?" "Yes, but I don't want to rush everything just because we might have 6 weeks." Relief and desire tangled inside me. "We go as slowly as you want." She took my hand. "Good. Because you're sleeping beside me, and if you steal the blankets, Boston wins by default." "I don't steal blankets. You also claim not to snore." "I don't. You scared my cat once." "Your cat is emotionally unstable." Maya led me upstairs, laughing. We changed separately, then lay beneath her quilt in borrowed clothes, facing each other in the dark. The distance between us was only a few inches. It felt more intimate than the kissing. She traced the lines of my palm with one fingertip. "When did you know? That I wanted you? That this wasn't ordinary friendship?" I thought about it. "Your birthday." "Which one?" "Last year. Everyone left the bar, but you stayed with me on the sidewalk because I'd gotten that call about my dad's biopsy." Her expression softened. "It was benign," I said, "but I was scared. You held my hand for an hour and didn't tell me not to be. You hated when people said that." "You knew." "I know you." "Exactly." Maya lifted my hand and pressed her lips to my palm. "My turn," I said. "When did you know?" "The Christmas movie." "The drooling incident?" "I woke up before you did. You were holding me like it was the most natural thing in the world." Her voice dropped. "I wanted it to be." I slid closer and drew her against me. "It can be," I said. She tucked her head beneath my chin. "Promise me something." "What?" "Don't become careful now. Don't spend 6 weeks preparing for me to leave instead of being with me." I held her tighter. "I promise." For the next 4 days, I kept it. We had coffee together before work. She came to my apartment Wednesday and kissed me the second I opened the door. I burned dinner because she sat on the counter in one of my shirts, swinging her bare feet and looking entirely too pleased with herself. On Thursday, I helped at the bakery after her closer called in sick. Maya taught me to pipe icing. I produced 6 cupcakes that looked medically concerning. "You're never touching a pastry bag again," she said. "I wired your entire kitchen." Electricity obeys rules, buttercream senses. Fear. When the last customer left, she flipped the sign to closed, walked around the counter, and looped her arms around my neck. "My boyfriend is terrible at frosting." The word stopped me. "You're what?" Maya's confidence faltered. "Unless you don't want—" I kissed her before she could finish. When I pulled back, she looked dazed. "I want," I said. "Very much." "Good. Say it again." "My boyfriend is needy." "One more time." She smiled. "My boyfriend." I kissed her until someone knocked on the locked front door and applauded. It was the happiest week I could remember. Then Friday morning, Simone called again. This time, Maya answered. I was beside her in bed, my arm around her waist. She listened quietly, thanked Simone, and ended the call. "What happened?" I asked. "They need my answer by Monday." 3 days. My promise not to retreat rose in my mind. I took her hand. "What do you need?" Maya looked at our joined fingers. Then she met my eyes. "Come to Boston with me tomorrow," she said. "I want you to see the bakery." She took a breath. "And I want to know if you can see a place for us there." I looked at Maya in the gray morning light. "Are you asking if I'd move?" "I'm asking if you could imagine it." Those were different questions, but only barely. My whole life was in Raleigh. My family lived 15 minutes away. I had spent 4 years building a reputation with the electrical company, and my supervisor had recently started giving me larger commercial projects. But Maya wasn't asking for a promise before breakfast. She was asking me not to dismiss the possibility. "I'll come," I said. Her shoulders lowered. "Really? I told you I'd sit angrily in the sky for you." She rolled over, grabbed her phone, and began searching flights. You're not flying angry. I'm getting you a window seat. Why? So you can see how high we are. That seems worse. She kissed my shoulder. My brave boyfriend. I liked the teasing. I liked boyfriend more. The next morning, I gripped Maya's hand so tightly during takeoff that she finally leaned over and whispered, I need those fingers for work. You have 10. I'm fond of all of them. I loosened my grip. She rested her head on my shoulder. You came. Of course I came. No. Her voice lost its humor. You got on a plane with 1 day's notice because I asked. I turned my hand over and linked our fingers. Get used to me showing up. She looked at me for a long moment, then kissed my cheek. Boston greeted us with cold rain and a taxi driver who seemed personally offended by traffic. Simone's bakery was in the south end inside a narrow brick building with tall windows and blue trim. The sign wasn't up yet. The kitchen, however, was nearly finished. Maya transformed the second we stepped inside. She moved from station to station, asking questions about the ovens, storage, suppliers, and staffing. Simone, a sharp-eyed woman in her 40s, answered while watching Maya with obvious respect. I stayed back. This wasn't a vague opportunity, it was a beautiful kitchen designed by someone who understood exactly what Maya could do in it. She would oversee production, create the seasonal menus, train a team, and help shape the bakery from opening day. The salary was better than she'd suggested. There was even profit sharing after the first year. She belonged there. That realization hurt. Simone excused herself to take a delivery call, leaving us alone near the marble work table. Maya ran her palm over its surface. Well, it's incredible. Her eyes searched mine. You mean that? I mean it. She leaned against the table. You've gone quiet. I'm trying to picture you here. And? I smiled, though it cost me something. You're already arguing with the supplier at 6 in the morning. Accurate. You've reorganized everything twice. Only twice? You pretend you don't care about reviews, then memorize every word. She came closer. Where are you in this picture? That was the question beneath the entire trip. I looked through the windows at the unfamiliar street. I don't know yet. Maya's expression closed slightly. But I'm trying to see it, I added. Simone returned before Maya could respond. For the next hour, we toured the rest of the building. There was a tiny office upstairs and an unfinished roof deck with a view of chimney tops and church spires. Maya walked to the railing. It could be beautiful, she said. It already is. She caught me looking at her. A smile tugged at her mouth. That was smooth. I've been practicing. With whom? I stepped behind her and wrapped my arms around her waist. Only you. The tension eased from her body as she leaned back against me. Below us, the city moved through the rain. I rested my cheek against her hair and let myself imagine ordinary days here. Maya coming home dusted with flour, me complaining about parking, both of us learning a new city together. The image was frightening. It was also possible. After the tour, we checked into a small hotel near Copley Square. The room had one bed, which neither of us mentioned for approximately 12 seconds. Maya set down her bag. We can request a room with 2. We slept in one bed all week. That was different. How? It was my bed. I had territorial authority. I walked toward her. And here? Neutral ground. Dangerous. Potentially. She slid her arms around my neck, and I kissed her until we forgot about the luggage, the rain, and the decision waiting for us. We spent the afternoon walking without a plan. Maya dragged me into a used bookstore. I bought her a battered pastry memoir she had once mentioned wanting. She bought me a guide to Boston wiring codes. This is not romantic, I told her. You highlighted an electrical supply catalog last month? That was professional literature. She laughed and tucked her hand into my coat pocket alongside mine. We ate dinner in a crowded Italian restaurant where our knees touched beneath a table barely large enough for 2 plates. Afterward, we walked through the public garden under one umbrella. Maya stopped on a footbridge, city lights trembling across the dark water. Could you be happy here? She asked. With you? Don't evade. I took a breath. Maybe, but I can't move next week. I know. I'd need to transfer my license, finish my current jobs, talk to my company. My family is in Raleigh. I know that too. And we've been together for 7 days. Her face tightened. You think this is too fast? Moving 600 miles? Yes. She stepped out from beneath the umbrella and faced the water. Rain gathered in her hair. I moved beside her. That doesn't mean I don't want us. You said you could imagine a place for us here. I can. I also imagine what happens if I move immediately, build my entire life around you, and wake up terrified that I've repeated every mistake my parents made. Maya went still. You think loving someone is their mistake? No. Disappearing into each other was. They stopped being two people choosing a life and became two people blaming each other for it. She looked at me then. I forced myself to say the part that scared me most. I won't make you responsible for everything I leave behind, and I won't let you make me responsible for Boston if you stay. Her eyes shone, though whether from rain or tears I couldn't tell. So, what are you saying? Take the job if it's what you want. We do long distance while I work out whether moving makes sense, not because I'm afraid to lose you, but because I want a life with you. A trial period. A plan. For how long? 6 months. She laughed once without humor. You've turned us into a commercial renovation. I'm trying to do this right. There is no right, Lucas. I know. That's what scares you. Yes. The admission hung between us. Maya wiped rain from her cheek. I don't need you to be fearless. I need to know you won't use caution as a prettier word for running away. I closed the umbrella and dropped it beside my feet. Then I took her face in my hands. I am in love with you. Her breath stopped. The words shocked me too, but once spoken, they felt inevitable. I have been for longer than I knew, I said. I love the woman who threatens electricians and remembers everyone's coffee order. I love the woman who invades my family dinners and buys me shirts because she hates my clothes. I love my best friend. A tear slipped down her cheek. And I'm not running, I continued. I'm asking you to trust me enough to do this without either of us becoming smaller. Maya gripped the front of my coat. I love you too, she whispered. You impossible, overcautious man. Then she kissed me in the rain. It wasn't careful, neither of us was. Back at the hotel, we changed out of our soaked clothes. Maya stood near the bed in one of my t-shirts, hair damp around her shoulders. Are you sure? I asked. She crossed the room and took my hand. I've been sure about you for a long time. That night, we stopped measuring the distance between friendship and love. We moved slowly, laughing when nerves made us clumsy, checking in with each other until tenderness replaced uncertainty. Afterward, Maya lay against my chest while I traced circles over her back. 6 months, she murmured. Maximum. And you'll visit? Try to stop me. You hate flying. I've heard. She lifted her head. And if after 6 months you can't see yourself here? I kissed her forehead. Then we decide together what comes next. On Monday morning, Maya called Simone and accepted. The following 6 weeks passed too quickly. We packed her house. My family threw a farewell dinner where my mother cried and my father pretended not to. Maya spent most nights at my apartment, gradually filling it with boxes while somehow making it feel emptier. On her final morning, we stood at the airport gate holding each other. You'll call when you land? I asked. You'll check the flight tracker every 4 minutes? Every 3. She smiled, but her eyes were wet. I kissed her. I love you. I love you too. The boarding agent announced her group. Maya picked up her bag, then turned back. 6 months, she said. 6 months. She walked toward the gate. My phone rang before she reached the scanner. It was my supervisor. I almost ignored it, but Maya glanced back and nodded for me to answer. Lucas? My supervisor said the moment I picked up. I know the timing is sudden, but Harris is retiring. The owners want you to take over his division. I stared through the glass as Maya handed over her boarding pass. It was the promotion I had worked toward for 4 years. A reason to stay in Raleigh. And I had 6 months to decide whether taking it would cost me the woman I loved. I didn't tell my supervisor yes. I didn't tell him no either. I need the weekend, I said, watching Maya disappear down the jet bridge. You have until Monday. The call ended. For 10 minutes, I stood at the window as if I might still see her plane. Then I called Maya. She answered on the first ring. I haven't taken off yet. I got offered Harris's division. Silence. The promotion? She asked. Yes. The one you've wanted for years? That one. Another silence, longer this time. Take it, she said. Maya. Don't turn it down because of me. I haven't decided. Yes, you have. You're just afraid of what it means. That I'm staying in Raleigh? That we both chose careers in different cities? Her voice cracked on the last word. A flight attendant spoke in the background. I have to turn off my phone, Maya said. We'll work this out. You promised we would. I love you. I love you too. The call ended, leaving me alone with a promotion, a promise, and no idea how to keep both. On Monday, I accepted the job. Maya was right. Refusing it out of fear would only create resentment. But I made one condition clear: I would commit for 6 months. After that, the company could make the position permanent or replace me. My boss wasn't happy, neither was I, but 6 months earlier I would have accepted without hesitation. The fact that I couldn't told me my definition of a good life had changed. Long distance began with optimism and color-coded calendars. We scheduled video calls every night. I booked flights for alternating weekends. Maya sent photographs of the bakery taking shape, and I sent her pictures of the houseplant she remained convinced I would murder in her absence. For the first month, it almost felt manageable. I visited for opening day. Maya stood behind the counter in a white chef's coat, flushed with exhaustion and pride. A line stretched down the block. When she saw me, her whole face changed. She ran around the counter and threw her arms around my neck. You came? I said I would. You had that hospital project. I finished the inspection yesterday. She kissed me in front of her staff, Simone, and approximately 30 waiting customers. Someone applauded. We attract audiences, I murmured. Maya smiled against my mouth. Maybe you're just very kissable. That weekend, she showed me her Boston. We drank coffee on her apartment steps before dawn. We walked home after midnight while she told me which recipes had sold out. I repaired a faulty light in her kitchen even though she insisted her landlord should handle it. On Sunday afternoon, she fell asleep against me on the couch. I held her and thought, I could live here. Then I flew home alone. By the third month, optimism required more effort. Calls were postponed. Flights were delayed. Maya missed my father's birthday because a baker quit. I missed her first magazine interview because an emergency outage trapped me at a job site all night. One Wednesday, we ate dinner together over video. My food was cold. She was sitting on a flour sack in the bakery office. This feels romantic, I said. Speak for yourself. I lit a candle. That's a birthday candle stuck in a muffin. I work with available materials. I smiled, but Maya didn't. What? I asked. I miss your terrible cooking. I miss being insulted in person. I miss everything in person. The screen froze for 2 seconds. When it returned, she was wiping her cheek. Maya. I'm fine. No, you're not. Neither are you. She was right. We had been so determined to prove we could survive the distance that neither of us had admitted what surviving it cost. I don't want us to become voices in our phone, she said. We won't. We already are. I leaned toward the screen. Then let's talk about what changes. Lucas, you love your job. And you love yours. That's the problem. No, the problem is we keep talking as if our jobs are immovable facts, and we're the pieces that have to fit around them. She looked at me. What are you saying? I'm saying I checked the licensing requirements in Massachusetts. Her eyes widened. I'd need to document my hours and take an exam, I continued. I started the application last month. You didn't tell me. I didn't want it to become a promise before I knew whether it was possible. And is it? My exam is in 4 weeks. Maya covered her mouth. I'm not moving because I'm panicking, I said. I've looked at companies. I've talked to contractors. Commercial electricians exist in Boston, apparently. A tear escaped despite her laugh. You'd leave the promotion? Yes. For me? For us. There's a difference. She shook her head. You said you wouldn't become smaller. I'm not. A title isn't the only way to grow. Your family will remain my family from another state. There are planes, though I object to them philosophically. Lucas, I want ordinary mornings with you. I want to hear about your day without a screen freezing halfway through it. I want to argue about the thermostat and burn dinner while you sit on the counter. Her hand pressed to the screen. I matched it with mine. I want a life with you, I said. Not 6 months of proving I can live without it. Maya's face crumpled. I wish I could kiss you, she whispered. Friday night. What? I changed my flight. I'll be there Friday. You have the hospital inspection. Thursday. She smiled through her tears. You planned ahead? I've been influenced by a highly controlling bakery manager. Pastry director. My apologies. That Friday, I knocked on her apartment door carrying sunflowers. Maya opened it wearing the green dress from my parents' dinner. For a second, neither of us spoke. Then she launched herself at me. I caught her around the waist. She kissed me hard enough that the flowers ended up crushed between us. I missed you, she said between kisses. I noticed. I love you. I love you too. She pulled me inside, kicked the door shut, and held my face as if confirming I was real. Later, we lay together with her head on my chest and our legs tangled beneath the sheets. Are you sure about moving? She asked. I'm sure about building toward it. And if you hate Boston? I'll complain constantly. Obviously. Then we'll decide what comes next. Together. She traced a small circle over my heart. I could come back to Raleigh eventually. I know. Simone and I have talked about a second location someday. That could be years. It could. I kissed the top of her head. For now, it's my turn to come to you. I passed the licensing exam. 6 months after Maya boarded that first flight, she stood waiting outside her apartment as I pulled up in a rented moving truck. My father was driving. My mother sat beside him with the houseplant in her lap. They had insisted on helping, partly out of love and partly because my mother didn't trust movers with my dishes. Maya ran down the steps. I barely had time to get out before she collided with me. You're late, she said, wrapping herself around me. Traffic. You said noon. It's 12:07. I've been waiting 6 months. I kissed her beneath the bare branches while my father leaned on the horn. Still attracting audiences, I said. Maya kissed me again. Let them watch. I found work with a commercial electrical contractor 2 weeks later. It wasn't a division head position, but within a year I was managing the renovation of a historic hotel and training 2 apprentices who thought my wiring code jokes were terrible. They were. Maya's bakery flourished. She created a sunflower-shaped lemon cake that became their signature dessert, though she denied it had anything to do with me. We visited Raleigh often. Every family dinner included at least one reference to the porch kiss, usually from my father, who continued to deny spying through the window. A year after I moved, I brought Maya home for another Saturday dinner. My mother served baked ziti. Maya reached across me and wiped sauce from the corner of my mouth with her thumb, exactly as she had that first night. Honestly, I told the table, she's practically my wife already. My family went silent. Maya's eyes narrowed with amused suspicion. What's stopping us? Nothing. I slid out of my chair and lowered myself onto one knee. She covered her mouth as I held up the ring. You stole my line, she whispered. I improved the timing. She was laughing and crying when she said yes. The following spring, we married on the roof of the bakery under strands of warm lights. My nephew carried the rings and was deeply disappointed that we hadn't arranged a dinosaur. At the reception, Maya stood in my arms with her forehead against mine, her wedding ring catching the light. For years, I had believed love was dangerous because it could end. Maya taught me that the greater danger was refusing to begin. What are you thinking? She asked. I looked at my best friend, my wife, and the home we had chosen in each other. That the joke came true. She smiled and kissed me while our families cheered. This time, I didn't mind the audience. What would you have done if your best friend had looked at you after that opening joke and asked, "What's stopping us?" Have you ever experienced something similar? Tell me your story in the comments. And for those who'd like to be a little closer to us, we've opened memberships, where you'll get shorter exclusive stories every week with no ads. If you like this one, leave a like, subscribe, and I'll see you in the next video.